Good morning and welcome to the Stylo News Intelligence Update for May 5th, 2026. Let's jump right in. Today we're laying out the facts on the rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape of East Asia. We've been tracking a highly complex pattern of military maneuvers and diplomatic signaling over the past 2 weeks, and we're going to examine the far-reaching impacts of exactly what's unfolding out there.
Now, this explainer is brought to you by ProWave AI, the developer behind Stylo Intel Ops. That's the AI-powered open-source intelligence program. And if you're looking for global intelligence delivered instantly to your web and mobile apps, you'll want to check out the commercial version, Stylo News.
Right. Let's look at the geography here. Our focus today is squarely on the South China Sea, the waters around Luzon Island and the Taiwan Strait. Over the past fortnight, major global powers have been engaged in some heavily overlapping military maneuvers right in these zones. It's not just a one-off event, fronts. We're looking at a deeply complex, incredibly dense pattern of deployments and patrols.
The sheer velocity of these developments is really something to see. We're tracking a rapid, almost simultaneous sequence of operations. It kicks off on April 20th with the massive Balikatan 2026 Allied exercises. Literally 24 hours later, intelligence shows China deploying its brand new Type 076 drone carrier, the Sichuan. Then, by the 24th, the PLA starts live-fire drills, right before a Philippine civilian supply mission heads into the very same area on the 30th.
So, let's break down those initial moves. The U.S. and Philippine-led Balikatan exercises are no small undertaking. We're talking about a coalition of over 17,000 troops, focusing heavily on amphibious defense and anti-landing operations. But here's the really crucial takeaway. It's who is involved. Alongside Canada and France, Japan is actively participating. To put that into perspective, this marks a historic shift. It's an unprecedented deployment of Japanese combat forces conducting live missile firings outside their territory since the Second World War. Naturally, in direct response to those Allied movements, the People's Liberation Army has actively positioned its own forces. As I mentioned, that newly commissioned Type 076 drone carrier, the Sichuan, was deployed straight into the South China Sea. Concurrently, the PLA's Southern Theater Command put together Task Force 107, which is spearheaded by a massive 10,000-ton destroyer, and they've been running live-fire drills just east of Luzon. Add to that intensified patrols near Huangyan Island and ongoing preparations in the Taiwan Strait, and you get a picture of a highly active, mobilized region.
Now, why does all this matter to us? Well, the ripples of these military actions extend way beyond the water. Locally, Philippine civilian supply missions to Pagasa Island are facing heavy restrictions, and everyday fishing communities are really feeling the economic squeeze from physical barriers and rising fuel costs. Nationally, we're seeing the Philippines restructure its defense, Japan totally shifting its post-war pacifist posture, and Taiwan conducting some rare Coast Guard drills of its own on Ituaba. And internationally, this is a clear escalation in strategic competition. It's actually prompted the United Nations to issue urgent calls for adherence to international maritime law just to protect global trade routes.
To really grasp what's going on, we have to look impartially at the stated intentions of the key decision-makers. It's like two sides of a coin. On one side, the U.S., the Philippines, and their allies frame all this as a necessary defense of a rules-based order. They state these drills are absolutely essential for collective deterrence, military resilience, and keeping international waters free for navigation. On the flip side, Beijing firmly categorizes its deployments as sovereign defense. The PLA's perspective is that these are legitimate countermeasures to safeguard their territorial sovereignty against perceived foreign encirclement. They're warning that bringing external military alliances into the region is exactly what generates instability in the first place.
And if you take a look at the international media and social sentiment, you'll see a deeply partitioned public sphere. Chinese outlets like the Global Times are firmly throwing their support behind the PLA countermeasures, framing the Allied drills as outright provocations. Meanwhile, Allied media sources like Reuters are keeping their focus strictly on the factual aspects of deterrence and building alliances. Then you have the neutral observers in international bodies, like ASEAN and the UN. They're consistently maintaining a cautious tone, heavily advocating for measured diplomacy, de-escalation, and just sticking to established legal frameworks.
So, what should we be watching for next? Well, looking to the immediate horizon, there are a few key events to keep an eye on. The Balikatan exercises are set to wrap up on May 8th, but the PLA is fully expected to maintain a high state of naval readiness and keep up their routine patrols. On top of that, Philippine President Marcos Jr. has a highly significant state visit to Japan scheduled for late May, which is expected to really solidify these shifting defense partnerships.
As we wrap up our analysis of the facts on the ground today, I want to leave you with something to think about.
With the density of advanced military assets packing into this vital maritime corridor and these multilateral exercises increasingly overlapping, the real pressing issue is this: can established diplomatic frameworks outpace the sheer momentum of armed deterrence? It is an incredibly fragile balance of power out there, and one the entire globe is watching closely.
Thank you for joining us for this explainer. If you'd like to hear our comprehensive analysis of these events, make sure to listen to the full Stylo News Intel Update podcast. It's titled Show of Force: U.S. Allies Drill in South China Sea, China Warns Taiwan. You can find it right now on your favorite channel or simply click the link in this post. And for AI-powered news on demand, be sure to subscribe at stylonews.com. Have a good morning and stay informed.